You ready, Ms. Brown? It's now 6 p.m. Chair will call this June 14, 2022 Fairfield County School Board meeting to order. The public have been notified and I do confirm a quorum. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to go into executive session for, I think, probably personnel matters. Personnel and contractual matters.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion, we enter executive session for personnel and contractual matter. Providing I get a second.
Second such motion. Motion made by Ms. Harris, second by Dr. Harris, to go into executive session for personnel and contractual matters. All in favor, show by the raising of the right hand. That would be 7-0. Clerk. At this time, we're gonna go into executive session. We will not be in there no longer than 30 minutes. We don't have that much, so count us by 15 minutes, okay? Thank you.
I don't think it was good.
Go ahead and take the pictures first. Let me go to my office and get a pen and I'll be right. Miss Julian. Okay. No. I'm good. No, we're back. All retirees have to step in the hallway just for a moment.
Oh, that's all perfect. That was empty.
So you have a thought,
Oh, no.
you brought company, you need 2 seats, is that what you're saying? Or you take up 2 seats?
Yeah, it is. Is that pressure?
You're giving us some- But I can.
You can.
I like how the happy. I'm not even gonna go back. He's not your friend. He's not like a different. Once you become your friend.
No friend.
No friend.
No friend.
You're like- I don't know, that's a greater level or lower level. Yeah.
At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to come out of executive session. No action will take.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we exit executive session, provided I get a second.
No action.
That's motion.
Motion made by Mr. Davis, second by Dr. Harris, to come out of executive session. No action will take. All in favor, show by the raising of the right hand. That will be 7-0. Time the chair will. At this time, we will just want to welcome everyone to this June 14th, 2022 board meeting. You know, we're blessed to have so many retirees here, but just to welcome everyone. It's a lot of work. You know, sometimes I think I was listening to. They were talking about Mayweather. They said pound for pound, he's the greatest fighter. But pound for pound, I feel that Fairfield County School District is a champion. You know, and I just wanted everybody. That's how I feel about it. And I know this board feels the same. We may be a small number, but we are well put together. So this time we're gonna have our best leads and more south. Let us stand, please.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please stand, please remain standing for a moment of silence. Amen. This time to get a motion to approve of the agenda as Janet.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
Motion made by Ms. Harris. Who was that second? Mr. Davis. Second by Mr. Davis. Approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, show by the raising of the right hand. It would be 7-0, Ms. Bryant. It's time, do we have any public comment, Mr. Singh?
No public comment at this time.
This time, we're gonna finish and give this to Dr. Avery.
Yeah, me and the Saul will tag team. Yeah.
All right, awesome.
So the Saul comes forward. It is obviously a pleasure for us and a bit of sadness that we acknowledge and recognize our working retirees who have done an absolutely remarkable job being a part of the Fairfield family, some for many, many years. I understand that they are ready to maybe sit back and kick back and relax just a bit. But you always have a place in the Fairfield County School District if you get tired and decide that you want to come back to work. Okay, and so if you want to come back to work, just give us a call. We'll put you right back to work. But I'll turn it over to the side.
Most definitely. Good evening, everyone. Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Dr. Green would step down, and Mr. Chairman, if you would join him at the table as well. This evening, everyone, as Dr. Green has said, we are going to recognize our retirees for the 21-22 school year. And we will begin with Cornelia Bowden. You would come forward. Ms. Cornelia Bowden, also known as Neely. Neely worked here at the district office as the elementary coordinator. She has over 41 years of experience in the field of education and 38 years here in South Carolina and 10 years in Fairfield County School District. So give her a round of applause. Dr. Green, did you want to join them in the picture as well? Okay, thank you. Next, we have Ms. Dorothy Chestnut. And will her supervisor come forward, Ms. Wanda Robinson? Ms. Chestnut has over 14 years here in Fairfield County School District, and she was assigned to McCory Liston School of Technology.
Chestnut has more energy than me, man. I'm gonna tell you about this chestnut. I'm gonna say this right here. If I'm around and any of us around, if Dr. Green is around, she coming to get him a big hug. I'm good. She give me a hug and on the skin around. But if he's around, you ain't getting no hug. Thank you, Ms. Chestnut.
Next, we're going to recognize Ms. Felicia Durham. Give her a round of applause when she comes. Served as custodian at Gordon Odyssey Academy and has been with the district for 30 years. And her supervisor, Mr. Brandon Dixon, is present and he will come forward as well. Next, we have Ms. Jean Masternode. Masternode served as a mathematics teacher at Fairfield Central High School. She has over 47 years in education, and 8 of those years were spent, the last 8 years, right here in Fairfield County. In Fairfield County. Dr. Tracy Swilly is joining us from.
And just as a hint, Ms. Masternode is gonna be working part-time. She's in fully retiring. So as soon as you work part-time, you need something to do. You can come on back. Come on back.
Also from Fairfield Central High School, we're going to recognize Ms. Julianne Neal. Neal has over 35 years of education and 33 of them spent here in Fairfield County.
That's right. Right.
Next, from Giger Elementary School, Ms. Doris Pearson. Doris Pearson served as an instructional assistant here in Fairfield County for 35 years. And Ms. Bramlett is going to join us as her principal. Next, we'll recognize Ms. Sonia Small. Sonia Small also served at Eager Elementary with Ms. Bramlett as an instructional assistant, and she has served Fairfield County for 31 years. I believe our last recognition of the evening is Ms. Tara Washington. Elementary School, her principal is Dr. Tammy Martin, and Ms. Washington is a teacher. She has served Fairfield County for 24 years. One more, Josephine McConnell. Transportation Department. Ms. McConnell has served as a bus driver for 14 years and worked with Mr. Danny Miller. As they take their seats, I would like to say congratulations to all on reaching this significant milestone in your career. Your effort and dedication play a tremendous part in our success, and we appreciate your commitment. On behalf of the Fairfield family, we wish you the best of health, happiness, and success on your new journey in life. Enjoy your retirement and all of the exciting adventures ahead of you. We leave you with these thoughts, and this is tied to retirement. The R, relax, and E, enjoy your time off. T, try something different. I, inspire somebody. E, explore new places. M, make time for yourself. E, entertain your friends and family. N, nap frequently. T, the best is yet to come. May you be proud of your work you have done, the person you are, and the difference you have made with our Fairfield County School District scholars. Thank you for your years of dedicated service and happy retirement.
And D, don't hesitate to come back if you feel like you're bored.
I believe we mean it too. Don't give you that opportunity. Thank y'all so much. God bless you. At this time, we're going to move to our board minutes, May 17th. Roll call me.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion, we accept the superintendent recommendation to approve the May 17th regular call board meeting, May 17, 2022.
I second.
Motion made by Ms. Harrison, second by Mr. Davis motion made to accept for the board minutes of May 17th. Do we have any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, show by the raising of the right hand. That will be 7-0, Mr. Brown. Superintendent report.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, first of all, I would like to acknowledge the outstanding work that Dr. Swilly and your staff did preparing our graduates for an absolutely momentous celebration. The weather cooperated with us. I tell you, it really was not that hot. It rained on that Friday. And I said, the Lord's cooling it down for us, Pastor Jackson. So you take a little steam off, and so the weather really cooperated. It was such a beautiful ceremony, and our young people have done a tremendous job. We have young people transitioning to the military, to the world of work, to institutions all over this country. We have people going as far as Pomona College out in California, William and up in Virginia, and USC Clemson, and Midlands Tech. I mean, so our young people are really doing a tremendous job. I appreciate the board being there to celebrate that momentous occasion. As Dr. Swilly often reminds people, this is a celebration for everyone throughout the district. Very often they see it as an exercise of Fairfield Central High School, but this journey did not begin at Fairfield Central High School. This journey began at multiple middle schools. This journey was supported by transportation, food services, and maintenance, and clerical staff. And so everyone was a part of helping these young folks to realize their dreams. So that whole concept of it takes a village to raise a child is illustrated substantially when we watch these young people march across the stage. And so we thank them for doing an excellent job putting on a first-class production. I want to just bring your attention that we have so many enrichment programs going on all throughout the district. And very often, when we think of our students who are participating in summer programs, the first thing we think is, well, they didn't do what they were supposed to do during the year. Now you got to go to summer school. Well, we might have some people who have to go to summer school because they didn't take care of business as they should have during the year. But most of the people who are participating in programs are doing it because they want to just do something extra. And so that's why we call it enrichment. And, you know, I've had an opportunity to visit several of the programs, and I can tell you, even though they got out one week and were back the next week, the kids that I had an opportunity to talk to were excited about being back. Okay. And so we are so excited to have the opportunity to provide some extra things. And Dr. Avery will talk a little bit about some of our summer enrichment programs during her presentation. But we have all kinds of programs going on about Fairfield County Schools that we talk about. Now, I want to talk a little bit about safety protocols as well. I mean, obviously, in the face of some of the things that have occurred recently in Texas and what occurred in Buffalo and what we have been reading about relative to weapons on campus, there were some questions relative to our protocol in Fairfield County. So I want to share a few things that we're doing. I want to discuss some things that we are entertaining as well. So as a way to prepare our staff for what could potentially happen, and we're careful that it doesn't. But the same thing that happened in Texas, happened in Florida, could happen anywhere. And so we want to always be prepared. And so our staff every year has to go through intruder drill training. That has to happen at least once a year. And so when people say, are we keeping that up to date? Absolutely. That training occurs every year. In addition to that, our students and staff participate in what we call active shooter drills. The same way we used to do fire drills and tornado drills, now we do active shooter drill where our students know how to respond in the event that something like that occurs. Now, we have put multiple things in place to best secure our facilities to try and mitigate the likelihood that that happens. So when you go to a school, you will recognize that you can't just gain entry. Okay? You go to Fairfield Middle School, Fairfield Central High School, or Giga, or what have you, you just don't walk up to the door. And so we have systems in place where you have to be buzzed into the school. And once you're buzzed into the school, you recognize that you are in a lobby area. You still don't have access to the entire school building. Now, probably the one building that's not as consistent as it should is Fairfield Central High School, because even though we have directed them to a new entry point, because they've been coming in on the old entry point so long, they aren't going to the new entry point that they should. But we have those areas designated in all of our schools. So you go from exterior of the building to a corridor area, and then you have to be buzzed into the main building. And the thinking there is, in the event that someone comes in who is not there for a positive reason, then they don't have ready access to all of our students and staff members. You probably have heard a lot recently about metal detectors in facilities. We read a lot about, we found a weapon on campus here, you found a weapon on campus there. I read recently that one of my colleagues in the Lexington School District, they're moving the potential metal detectors on next year's. Richmond County schools are piloting that. And though it poses some logistical issues at the secondary level, and the logistical issues are the entry and exit points. In order to have an effective policy, you need to have detectors at every entry and exit point, or you have to lock down entry and exit points. So as you think about going to a courthouse and the procedures they have in place, that works because you can only enter and exit in one location. In a school, as you see, we have people entering and exiting multiple locations. We got people leaving, going to the career center. You got people going out to the bus lot. You got people going to the gym. You got people going out to the dance room. So people are coming and exiting in multiple locations. With that said, we are going to evaluate, or rather we can do some things to maybe create even a more safe environment. And so I shared with Dr. Swilly, Mr. Brunson, Mr. Corley, and Mr. McDowell, that we're going to look at potentially this open gate metal detector system. Maybe look at piloting that at the secondary level. Now, the thing about this open gate system, and we need to do a little more research on it, it is supposed to only detect weapons. So part of the issue when you have metal detectors is if the system is alerted, then you have to warn students, you have to have them empty their pockets, you have to maybe pat them down, you have to go through a lot of procedures. But this system allegedly only alerts to weapons. Now, if you go to the courthouse, they're going to make you get the phone out your pocket, they're going to make you get the keys out your pocket, anything out of your pocket, and then you have to walk through the system. This system is supposed to allow you to keep your phone, to keep the keys, to keep anything else you have, and when you walk through it, it only alerts if there is a weapon. Now, that almost sounds too good to be true, to be honest with you. I think so we need to do a little more investigation as relates to whether that actually works. I would be a little bit more comfortable with that system as opposed to having people stationed by a door, having kids wind down, having to take out their phones, keys, so on. So we're going to be doing some investigation into this potential system, always to show up as best we can for the systems that we have in place. As I said at the onset, I feel very comfortable with what we're doing. I think we have some very good procedures in place. But can they get better? Obviously, always do better. If we do more, we can always do more. But we try and create a balance between what is a safe environment with what is not an institutional environment. Because it's still a school, we still want it to be inviting, we still want kids to be happy to be there, and we don't want to necessarily treat them as if an institution. So that's the balance we're trying to strike. But I'm just sharing with you what we're currently doing, and some ideas that we are exploring to maybe show up our safety protocols as well. Are there any questions that you have, or any thoughts that you'd like to share?
Mr. Chair, Dr. Green, thank you for sharing that, because I have had a lot of parents, even community people, to ask about, what do we have in place, and I shared it with them, and then I also talked to you so you can give an update. So for the people that's watching, they'll know that we do have something in place, because we can't think that we're okay. Right now in today's society, nobody's okay. Nobody knows what's going to happen even in a small community like ours. So I appreciate all the safety measures that y'all put in place and make sure our doors are locked and no kids are leaving doors open or propping them open so somebody can get in. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ms. Harrison. Ms. Harrison brings up an excellent point when you talk about so many entry and exit points in the building. It's very often, even when you try to lock them down, because the fire marshal will let you lock them from the inside when people can't get out. When kids go out, they'll put a rock in the door, a bottle in the door, put something in the door so they can come back in. And they're not necessarily doing it for nefarious reasons. They may just want to do it because I'm gonna run out. I want to be able to come in the same door that I left out. You know, I have. Sometimes I go down to the field house and then do a little workout in and go in the locker room. And some kids are propped open the door in the locker room, and I go in there in the door, and it'd be 6 or 7 o'clock, and you got a bottle or something stuck in the door. You know, so I talk to Dr. Swindon, talk to the coaches. Y'all got to start making rounds and make sure that kids aren't propping these things open. So even when you put procedures in place, your fire marshal is going to allow you to just lock doors where kids can't get out. Other than that, I'll be on the news like Joe Clark was. You can't do that, all right? So you still got to allow them to get out. And the problem is when they can leave, you know, very often that causes the problem. Okay. Yes, sir.
What did you say the name of that?
It's called an open gate metal detector. Open gate, yes. And so, Pastor,
I have a question. I know you haven't looked at it yet, but you said that it's only. You said that it only is supposed to detect weapons.
yes.
Now, when it's detecting weapons, is it going to detect the more modern ghost guns and stuff like that? Because they may not be made fully out of metal and so forth.
So Pastor Jackson, you know, I'm always a bit skeptical because we are in a climate where this is a hot topic. Vendors and people are really going to be promoting products that they think are going to resonate with school districts. And even the idea that it can detect a weapon but not a phone, not detect my keys, I really am going to have to see that technology in action. Okay. Because most systems, even complex systems like what we see at a courthouse, for example, you have to empty your pockets. You know, because you go through that system, you have keys, and you go through that system with a belt in the door. If you found out, so it is relatively sensitive. So for a system to, you know, suggest that it won't go off for a belt, it won't go off for keys, it won't go off for a phone, but will only go off for a weapon, we're going to need to see that in action. We'll need to see that in action. So I'll just kind of let you know what we're exploring. I'm not attesting to really the veracity of what they suggest would happen. You know, so we won't put it to the test. And if it doesn't work, and we can figure out how we can maybe post some of our entry exit points, you still would have to staff those entry exit points because if it did go on, you have to have someone there to address it. So, you know, we still have some particulars to work out in order for that to really be implemented. But I wanted to at least bring to your attention that we are exploring how it can work. Now, it could work a little easier at the elementary level than it could at the secondary level, but really you need it more at the secondary level than you do at the elementary level. That's primarily what you wanted at the secondary, but that's where it's a little bit more difficult to implement, just because of the multiple ways people enter and exit the facility in a secondary building.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear you say that you're going to look at it, because sometimes folks will say things that sound good to you, say you something, because they think that that's going to get the job done. Then they'll get the job done for you.
And Pastor Jackson, you make an excellent point, because if we were to implement a system like that, and they say it only went off for weapons, and it's going off for every cell phone that comes through, every phone that comes through, every belt that comes through, it'll cause more problems than it solves.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so that's why we will need to vet that, because all of a sudden we invest in something like this, and then we got something going off every time kids come through, we think it's a weapon. No, it's my iPhone, it's my Android, my car key, it was this and that. So, before we move forward with something like that, I can assure you, we're gonna do some substantial vetting to make sure the system does what it says.
You've got motion detecting systems out there that go off with the wind.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Green, did you address or inform our constituents of the training that the teachers are receiving in regards to stop the bleed?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Ms. Green. And so, obviously we are prayerful that we never get to the point where we have that kind of pattern. Okay, but in the event that we do, teachers have received kind of a crash course in first aid treatment. It's called Stop the Bleed. And I say teachers, staff, have received training in kind of first aid treatment that could potentially save lives, and how you would apply the tourniquet, how you would put pressure to a wound, how you could stop someone if they, were actually about to lose enough blood to then potentially pass out, or die. So we are providing that kind of training to our staff members in the worst case scenario where that kind of tragedy occurs. Obviously we are always prayerful that we never have to utilize that kind of training. This kind of thing you want to be prepared for, but we never have to actually do. But it's better to be ready and not needed, needed and not be ready. Okay, and so we are preparing for the worst case scenario.
Chairman Bill and Dr. Green, could you kind of give us a ballpark figure if we did look into this open gate system, how much it possibly could cost?
Yeah, that's a good question, Mr. Davis. So, my kind of preliminary investigation, I've seen just a basic system run anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 per gate. Okay, and so if you said $15,000 to $20,000 per gate, you got to think about how many gates you potentially would need at the high school, for example. And then you got to start talking about staffing of those particular gates. And so the staffing probably is going to be more than the equipment, okay? Because it only works if you can have someone dedicated at that particular door. And when we think about it, very often I think we feel as if, well, all you got to do is just send a staff member there after the bell rings. And so students going from first to second block, as long as you have someone there. But people who work in school know that's not how it works. You got people leaving out of class, going to the bathroom, going to the guidance office, going to the assistant principal's office. So people can be entering and exiting doors for the entire day. Okay, so there is no time period where people aren't leaving, entering, and exiting the facility. So Mr. Davis, I hadn't necessarily worked out all the numbers yet, but if I had to just give you a ballpark, it could be something staffing and equipment that could run a couple $100,000.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to present to you is our COVID-19 update as Ms. Brown gets that ready. I caution you to view these results in context, because in many instances it would look like we are doing great relative to COVID-19 because the numbers are so low. But I remind you that people aren't necessarily reporting the numbers as they once were, because we have a lot of home tests that are coming. And if you take a home test, you're not necessarily obligated to report that information anymore. And so I think we could be pretty assured that the numbers that we are seeing are underreported. Okay, so whatever we're seeing, we can be pretty sure the numbers are underreported. Next slide, brother. So as you see student cases, for the week of May 30th through June 3rd, we only had one isolation. And so by one isolation, that means we only had one positive case for the week of May 30th through June 3rd. Now, if it was receivables, if I were a betting man, I'd probably bet you that wouldn't really happen. Okay? We had one that was reported. That's probably not what we actually had. Okay? Because as I said, when people are taking home, tell me, aren't necessarily reporting those numbers. All right, next slide. So quarantine, as you know, the DA is not requiring us to quarantine any longer. So we don't have any quarantine data. The numbers for quarantines are 0. So we all need to keep it in contact, keeping a record of close contact and requiring that they quarantine if they've been exposed to someone who is COVID positive. Next slide. Next slide. Now this is interesting. So we have for the week of May 30th through June 3rd, 3 staff isolations. Okay, so that means that we had 3 positive staff cases. Now, if you recall, our student cases have always exceeded our staff cases. Our student cases have always been significantly more than our staff cases. So you say, well, why do you now have more staff cases than you have student cases? The reality is staff are much more likely to report that information than students, okay? And so as long as it's going to be self-reported data, we're probably going to see more staff isolations, more staff positive than we're going to see student positive. Remember before, if someone went to DHEC, or someone went to CVS, or someone went to some kind of testing facility and tested positive, they automatically sent that information in and it was reported. Now they have to self-report that data. Next slide. Okay, as I said, we're no longer quarantining students or staff. Next slide. Okay, just gives you a breakdown of where those 3 isolations were. And the final slide, right? And so, you know, as you watch the news, you're kind of hearing that we're seeing an uptick in the number of COVID cases. Fortunately, we aren't necessarily seeing the same level of hospitalizations that we saw, say, around the beginning of the year. Preferably that trend continues. We'll have to grapple with where we are by the time we get back to August and return to school, and whether we have to maintain or implement any new protocols as a function of that. You know, someone was asking me, said, well, Superintendent, where do you think we're going to be next year relative to safety protocol? And I said, well, I think as a general rule, society has moved on from COVID-19. And regardless of where the numbers are, people have just grown weary with protocol. I mean, that's just what it is. And I think there's going to be much more resistance if we try to move back with any kind of mandated protocols similar to what we did this year. And so, for example, if we said numbers were up and we think we got to move back to a mask mandate, I think there would be significant resistance to something like that. Whether the numbers dictated it or warranted it or not, and I think that's just where we are. There's a certain amount of fatigue that is set in, and people are just like, well, we're just going to deal with COVID-19. I mean, we're just going to move on with our lives. I was at a function recently, a friend of mine who owns a business and was doing an anniversary downtown Columbia on Saturday. And I can tell you, nobody there was wearing a mask. Nobody there was worried about social distancing. People were like, we ready to get out, we ready to have fun, and we moving on for COVID-19. And I think as a general rule, that's what people are. whether we agree with it or not. And so I think we have to just acknowledge that in the event coming back from the holiday, coming back from the summer break, that the numbers are up and we have to make some decisions about whether we want to put in additional protocol in place. Any questions?
Mr. Chair, Dr. Green, and as I was listening to the news, so 50% capacity, the hospital is up. And I guess it's an individual thing, whether you still want to wear a mask or not, because it's not mandated. I choose to wear mine a lot because just last week, several people called me, they had contracted COVID. So the numbers are there, they just not, like you said, not being reported. So we really don't know, but people are still getting COVID. So I'm very cautious about that. I've been blessed not to have COVID and I don't want COVID. So, you know, it's just, you know, to each his own, you know, whether you want to wear a mask or not, or not social distance, that's you. I choose to do wherever to keep myself safe and my family safe. So.
Yeah, but Sarah, so you know, right now our position on masking is that it is optional.
Yeah. And
so students and staff who want to wear masks can wear masks, obviously, but we are mandating that. If you observe the crowd at graduation, you probably saw that there were, you know, not a whole lot of masks being worn in the crowd. I think as we move on through the summer, I think that number is going to decrease even more. And I think when we come back from summer break into the fall, the numbers of students and staff masking will be even less than it was at the end of last year. I think that's the reality. And it probably won't change unless we mandate. Any other thoughts or questions? Okay, yeah. And summer work hours, let me apologize that we did not present this for approval during our last board meeting. But, you know, for many years, we have modified our summer work hours, work 10 hours Monday through Thursday, and take Fridays off. We started that on last week, but we are asking the board to approve that retroactive.
Get a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
make a motion, we approve the summer hours that began on June 6th, that will conclude on July 26th. I need a retroactive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Second such motion.
Motion made by Ms. Harrison, second by Dr. Harris for our summer work hours from June the 6th to July the 22nd, 2022, retroactive, starting on last week. Do we have any discussion on that? All in favor, show by the raising of the right hand. That would be 7-0. Thank you, Dr. Green. At this time, Dr. Avery.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For your approval is a field trip, overnight field trip for Fairfield Central High School. And the high school is requesting that this field trip is approved retroactively. This field trip took place. Our students had the opportunity to participate in a leadership opportunity held this past Saturday, concluded this past Saturday, June 11th, and the students departed on June the 5th. And this opportunity, of course, was not provided for them in previous years due to COVID-19. So our students had an opportunity to participate in this leadership experience at Fort Jackson. There were 8 students and 2 chaperones.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we retroactive the to the board to approve the overnight field trip requested by Fairfield Central High School.
I second.
Motion made by Ms. Harrison, seconded by Mr. Davis for the retroactive field trip on last week. Make sure I get the right date. Okay. June 14th,
June fifth
June
to Saturday, June 11th.
June 5th.
June 5th to through June 11th.
June 5th through June 11th. I want to make sure we all know what we're voting on. All in favor, show by raising the right hand. We have 7-0. Thank you.
And the second item under CNI is the 2022-2023 summer academic enrichment programs. And I wanted to take this opportunity to give the board a quick overview of the programs that we are offering this summer. And this will be coming up in the next few weeks, my 15th year in the district. And this is the first time during my tenure that we've been able to offer a summer academic enrichment program at each of our sites within our school district, which is phenomenal. And we have served since last week, we have served close to 500 students in our summer academic enrichment program. So our families are taking advantage, whether it's for academic or enrichment purposes, or perhaps for the free daycare. But I wanted to kind of give you a quick highlight of some of the things that have been offered to our families. Each of our elementary schools is offering either a summer school or an enrichment opportunity. Fairfield Elementary School is serving all of our third grade students who qualify with the summer reading camp, which is based upon the Read to Succeed qualifications for those students who needed some additional support in reading. Our secondary schools and those programs for elementary started on June 7th and will end on June 30th. Now, secondary will start on June the 7th and will conclude on June 11th. And if you notice in the document included in board docs, these are full day programs from 8 to 2:30 or 8 to 2:45, depending upon the location of our schools. Fairfield Middle School will be offering or is offering an Avid Summer Bridge Camp that will focus on algebra preparation. Our Fairfield Career and Technology Center offered a robotics camp that is serving our elementary students. And Gordon Odyssey Academy is hosting a Ed Options Academy, which is a virtual enrichment program where students get support Monday through Thursday for 2 hours each day in reading and in math. And of course, this is open to all students, not just those students who are students in our virtual academy. And also, our secondary schools elected to do their transition camps, their 6.5 programs and the 8.5 programs on June the 7th. So those students who will be coming to the middle school and to the high school for this upcoming school year will have the opportunity, to tour the building, to become familiarized with the buildings that they will be attending on next school year. Of course, lunch and breakfast are provided for our students along with bus transportation. And I'm just excited and proud that we were able, through a combination of local, state, and federal funding, to be able to offer such an abundance of programs for our students.
We get a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion we accept the summer academic enrichment program overview.
It's just for information.
Okay,
Just for information.
okay, well, I do have.
Just for information.
Okay, I do have a statement now. Mr. Chair, Dr. Green and Dr. Avery, I think that's a wonderful thing. I do remember when my girls was in school, enrichment programs were at all the schools. And I think more people take advantage when they're in their different areas, instead of getting bused from getting them and getting bused all back to Winsburg area when they can go to the schools in their different areas. So I think that's a good thing that we are doing this summer, and hopefully we'll do it next summer too.
Anybody got any questions? Dr. Avery,
So are we doing this virtual also?
Yes, there is one virtual option that's available for families who would like to exercise the opportunity to get some enrichment virtually. but the majority of all our programs are face-to-face.
Yeah, face to face, but because one of the parents called me and I said, oh, okay, so it worked out for us, you know, and so we meet them everywhere they are.
Most definitely. Great, thank you.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Robinson. Operations.
Good evening. Thank you. The first item in the board packet under operations and finance is the May 2022 finance report as presented for your information. Everything's still fairly on track. As I mentioned earlier in the year, right now we're projecting about $1 billion to come out of the fund balance compared to the budget. We budgeted 2.6 million, primarily a result of us being able to move salaries for some positions at the ESSER fund, and we had some other savings as well. So we're still on track there, and that's presented for your information.
I got any questions? Okay.
The second item on the operations and finance, we have the third reading of the fiscal year 22-23 budget. And the superintendent recommends board approval of the third reading of the fiscal year 22-23 budget in the amount of $43,379,790, which includes no change in millage. Please note the third reading, this reading is the same as the second reading that was approved last month. Some of the major highlights of the budget, the tax millage, as I mentioned, for operations will stay the same, 203.1 mils. The proposed budget for next year is virtually the same as our current budget, $43.4 million. We will use ESSER funds to help fund positions again next year, just as we've done this year, and that is helping us, that will help us to minimize the amount of money that will have to come out of fund balance. Next year, we're budgeting about $1 million to come out of the fund balance, and as I said earlier, that's what we're projecting will come out of the fund balance this year. The budget does include the retention bonuses that we've done for the past few years of $5,000 for certified personnel, $3,000 for our classified personnel. And right now, the teachers will receive a step increase, and all other salary categories will also receive a step increase. As we mentioned before, there was some uncertainty in the state legislature in terms of the budget. The conference committee has met with the Senate and the House, and the agreement that they've decided upon really will result in virtually no change to the budget that you have before you. So the revenue that we have in there from the state will be roughly the same thing that appears that they've agreed upon. It hasn't been finalized yet, of course. It hasn't gone to the governor for the signature, but we're really looking at roughly no change. They also included the $4,000 increase as originally stated earlier in the year, but that is to get the teacher salary schedule up to a certain minimum. We are above that minimum, and of course, they still did not provide additional funding, as we mentioned earlier in the past few readings, because there was not enough funding provided to give the $4,000 increase, and because we were above the minimum required salary schedule, we would not be increasing the teacher salary schedule. However, it would still move up a step, as they always have past few years. I will add one other thing. It's my understanding that in this proposed budget, the state is giving a $1,500 bonus to state employees. Every year, when they do something for state employees, some of our employees question, are we getting that? We are technically not state employees, so that $1,500 does not apply to us. We still will get $5,000, $3,000 for our current bonus plan. And that's it. So that's the budget for your consideration.
Can we get a motion?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion, we accept the superintendent recommendation to approve the third reading of the fiscal year 22-23 budget in the amount of $43,379,790, which includes no increase in millage.
Motion made by Ms. Harrison, second by Ms. Green, for the final reading of this budget 22-23 for $43,779,790, which includes millage of 203, which is 0.1, which is no change. Do we have any discussion?
Yeah. Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Robinson, what is the step increase that they're getting? Is it 2%?
The step increase varies slightly depending on where they are on the scale. So I think the maximum amount, I think it's about 1%, maybe a little bit more than 1%.
Okay. I saw the salary scales from, I don't know if you've seen it, Dr. Green, it's on SC for Ed. Like all the counties, where they're at, actually we are the highest paying, I think, Richland too. There is like 3 or 4 that's kind of like right there together. And then it shows the one that's paying like less, like maybe 36,000. So yeah, we are the highest paying district.
Mr. Robinson, could you just talk a little bit about the Medford money? So when we are dealing with this, moving money out, 1 million out of our general fund, I guess, to put over here to make sure that everything is okay. Kind of explain that and tell how much money we're actually putting. We're giving Medford.
Sure. Now that amount, it varies every year. So it's not a set amount. There's a formula that determines how much we have to pay based on the court decision. But I know this past year, the amount was about $670,000. It's been roughly between $500,000 and $600,000 since we've started making that payment. So, we're projecting we'll probably be about $670,000 for next year. Could be more or less.
Wanted them to know that we're a lot of times we're talking about this, but they don't realize that we're having to pay that money. And so we just want some clarity on that. Any more discussion? Motion been made by Ms. Harrison, seconded by Ms. Green. Amount of $43,379,790 for our new budget year 22-23. 203 meals on 1, no change. All in favor, show by the raising on the right hand. That would be 17. Thank you. It's time to soul.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This evening, under Human Resources, we have item 1, where the superintendent recommends the board approve certified staff resignations and terminations to be effective at the conclusion of academic year 2021-22. This is presented to you in Exhibit 1.
Motion to. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for the board to approve the certified staff resignation, termination to be effective at the conclusion of this academic 21-22 school year.
Second such motion.
Motion made by Mr. Davis, second by Dr. Harris. Certified staff resignation and termination for the 21-22 school year. All in favor, show by raising the right hand. That would be 7-0.
Next for approval, we have certified recommendations where the superintendent recommends the board approve certified educators for academic year 2022-23. This is presented in exhibits 2A and 2B.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion, we accept the superintendent recommendation to approve board certified educators for academic year 22-23, exhibit 2A and exhibit 2B.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Second, please. I second such motion. Motion made by Ms. Harrison, second by Mr. Siegel. For the school year. It's called this right thing, it's no plan, sorry. For approval of the educators academic year 22-23, exhibit 2A and 2B. All in favor, show by raising the right hand. That would be 7.
Next, we have the superintendent's recommendation to the board approve the certified professional educators for academic year 2022-23. This is presented in exhibit 3.
Can we get a motion, please?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion, we accept the superintendent recommendation to approve certified professional administrators for academic year 22-23, exhibit 3.
Motion made by Ms. Harris, and second. Second by Mr. Davis. Your exhibit professional certified administrator. 3A. All in favor, show by raising the right hand. That would be 7. Again.
And last, for your approval this evening, the superintendent recommends the board approve district stipends for certified, classified, athletic, and band staff for academic year 2022-23. These recommendations are presented in exhibits 4A and 4B.
We get a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we accept the superintendent recommendation to approve district stipends for certified, classified, athletic, and band staff for academic year 22-23, exhibit 4A, exhibit 4B.
Second such motion.
Motion made by Ms. Harrison, second by Dr. Harris. Superintendent recommend the approval of district stipends for certified, classified, athletic, and band staff for academic school year 22-23. All in favor, show by raising the right hand. 7.
Thank you.
Thank you. Time we have our board chair report. We are looking at our
we're looking at our board. Thank you, Mr. C. I appreciate it. We need to look at our board workshops that we have in the state, as well as out of state. Just looking at them and knowing that we have a school law conference coming up in August the 27th, 28th. It's been changed, the venue has been changed to Greenville. So don't think that it's going to Charleston. You know, we're going to Greenville, as well as some other legislative advocate conference also, and that's in Charleston. So just saying that's our we need to get these in if you plan to go to Miss Brown. You know, as soon as it opens up. Okay. Also, we have a board meeting scheduled. And so that will be on the 6th. Thank you. That's usually Dr. Green and the staff administrator went through and we pretty much on task. If anybody got any changes, but I think that usually we may make a change sometime. What was that during that time, Doc?
Yeah, so, generally speaking, we meet the second Tuesday of every month. This month, there was a conflict where it fell, I think, on Valentine's Day. The third Tuesday. But our conflict was in February, I think that way fell on Valentine's Day. And either, it was either in a session period or do it during Valentine's Day. So we had to kind of make a decision which one was the least of two bad options. And so,
what y'all think?
yeah, there's a sequel. I chose Valentine's Day. So, I chose Valentine's Day. So you just tell you why I do be home a little late. Yeah, we'll be on a little late. Yeah, so we'll do a quick meeting, so y'all can get home and spend some time with your sweetie.
Well, thank you, Doc. And number 3, you need to.
So let me talk about this change here. And so this policy change is really an update to the board policy, not necessarily to practice. And so, no. Oh.
Can we get a motion, please? Thank you, Ms. White.
Yeah, Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a recommendation, we approve the board meeting schedule for 22 and 23 year.
Mr. Chair, I second. Motion made by Ms. Harris, second by Pastor Jackson. Schedule for the 22-23 school year, board meeting. All in favor, show by the raising of the right hand. Okay, that would be 17. Okay, we can go now.
Yes, and so what we ended up changing back in 2019, Mr. Chair, was our per diem rate. We were just making this formal in the board policy because even though we are changing in practice, it was not changing in policy. The per diem rate up until that point in time was $25 a day for in-state travel and $32 a day for out-state travel. As you know, you can spend $25 in one meeting, much less 30 meetings during the day. And it still is relatively low because we only changed it to $35, which is probably still low, and $50 per day for out-state travel. And so this is just to make it formal and official, but this is something that has been in place since 2019. So we'd ask that you approve this at this time.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the per diem change from with $25 for in-state to $35 in-state and to $50 out-of-state. That was effective on July 1, 2019.
Motion made by Ms. Harrison, second by Mr. Davis. Again, change which was done in 2019. Change to $35 in-state and $50 out-of-state. All in favor, show by raising of the right hand. That would be 7-0. Before we get on this is the board report, but I feel that we have someone, it's not about me, so anybody got any thing that they want to say before we close?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
With Dr. Green, we talking about safety for everybody and gun violence. So me and Chairman Moses Bell having an event in Ridgeway at Mount Olive Church on the 25th from 10 to 11:30. And we have guest speakers coming to speak on that. We really encouraging like parents to bring their kids out so they'll be aware of, you know, what's going on around them, and you see something, tell. You know, a lot of times they see it, don't tell it. So that's what we're doing. And also, Mr. Darius Robinson, on the 25th is having something on Main Street at the courthouse from 12 to 3 with all the youth that has been killed around in our area. He's also pretty much got the same speakers that we got. So they're gonna leave us and then go there to try to just rally people around and try to, you know, solve some of these murders and talk about, you know, what people are going through. So that's two things that's going on.
Chairman Miller. Also, this coming 25th, we're doing our annual fan drive for the elderly. We'll be at Advanced Auto from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. That day we'll be washing cars, taking donations for fans, and we'll be selling fish plates as well. So far, everything's going good, and we have been receiving fans. So we'll be distributing them throughout the county to the elderly that's in need of the fans. And I'd like to invite each and every one of you out to participate if you're able to. Thank you.
Dr. Green, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for the board retreat that we had on this past Saturday. I think it was very beneficial, learned a lot, had an opportunity to share with each other about different concerns and things that we can work together on. So again, I take my hat off to you all for organizing it for us, and I feel that it was very much a success. Thank you.
Now, I would like to bring your attention, if you've not heard, that Ms. Gertrude Washington passed recently. And Ms. Washington was a long-standing cafeteria manager at Kelly Miller Elementary School. In fact, we renamed the cafeteria the Ms. Gertrude Washington Cafeteria. So if you've not had opportunity to potentially reach out to the family, I wanted to make sure you are aware. I don't have information readily available in terms of the arrangement. Thursday, 11 o'clock. Okay. Yeah, but a long-standing member of the Fairfield family passed on, and so we wish the Washington family Godspeed as they work through this very difficult time.
Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Ms. Harrison. Second by Ms. Green. All in favor of adjournment, somebody raise their right hand. All right, meet adjourned. Yes, sir. No more.